Hello, everybody. This week we're going to be reviewing two wines that you can find at your local grocery store. And this week we've got Pinot Noir.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. All right, so I have in front of me Dark Horse Pinot Noir from California, 2021. Quote, elegant, layered, and flavorful. What have you got?
And for our second wine, we have a Pinot Noir 2019 called Oyster Bay from New Zealand.
Nice. And we can expect some kind of grassy flavors from Pinot Noir usually. But on the lower price point, these might be a little more juicy and flavorful that way.
Definitely expecting some fruit flavors in there. Some bright, summery fruit flavors, I think.
Yep. Especially, I think, from that New Zealand one. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig into it. This
bottle, I think we were actually once given by friends when we hosted a party. And this is not that exact bottle, but this exact, we had some Dark Horse Pinot Noir at one point, and I remember it being all right. So
yeah, I feel like I see Dark Horse pretty much everywhere now. So definitely it's something you can grab from your store.
Yeah. Well, we will get these open and get to tasting them.
Awesome.
So while we're tasting here, I should note that a lot of these old world styles have, you can really hear the acidity in my voice. The old world styles of Pinot Noir have kind of like a almost grassy kind of texture, lighter to medium body, and also lighter on the color. But these are both New World, so it'll be interesting to see kind of the old world meets New World effect here.
So you have to remember that we got these two bottles from our local grocery store, something that anybody can get from their local grocery store. And you can definitely tell going down the aisle, I mean, there's more refined wines and then there's lesser refined wines that are at a lower price point. So we're definitely going to talk more about the differences of these two wines and how they compare in terms of price and what we're looking for.
This wine reminds me of a hangover I once had. Even at just $5 more, you start to notice some big differences about the audience that they're catering to. Not just what's in the bottle, but also the way they're marketed and just the general presentation. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see that.
Exactly. And so the Dark Horse wine, that was more in what price range?
That was in the $8.99 kind of price range.
Yes. And then the Oyster Bay we got, I think, for $16, but it was on sale.
Yeah, so it was like $18.99 usually, but we got it for $15.99, something like that. Alrighty, so why don't we talk about the Dark Horse first? What were your tasting notes?
Yes. So right away, let me just quickly say that pouring it into the glass, there was a lot of this sugary, syrupy consistency that I saw. So right away, I was like, okay, this is going to be a sweeter wine than what we're used to. And we see that in a lot of cheaper wines, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Where they make it more sugary so that it's just more enjoyable for parties.
Yeah, and it's caters to a wider audience.
Exactly. So going into tasting, I did get that, syrupy taste to it, consistency, along with like sweet berries, but then it went into the alcohol pretty quickly, and I just got straight up nail polish remover taste almost.
Yeah, I mentioned this during the tasting notes, so you might have heard this already if I actually played the audio, but it reminds me of a hangover I once had. That was like the smell. When I just smelled it right away, I was like, oh my gosh, I've smelled this before, and it was definitely in college. That said, the smell is worse than the taste. I think
I agree with that.
I think that the taste was definitely like, berries, very alcoholic, sweet. Catering to a very mass audience. It didn't have too much of the fake oak, which I appreciated because they could have totally done that. There was some of it, but it wasn't too bad. And even a hint of like some kind of something spicy. So that was cool. Maybe that was just the alcohol, but I'm going to say that it was like something cedary.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm not trying to bash certain things at all. I think that they're catering to a certain audience, and that's wonderful. And it is enjoyable to drink. Although maybe you don't like the memories of your hangover. But otherwise, it kind of reminds me of, people who drink Folgers coffee, and instead of having it black, they dump a bunch of sugar in it so that it's better drinkable, where it's just more enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. So we were talking about how we've actually tried Dark Horse before, and I think that they're a pretty good bet for pretty much anybody, right? Like somebody who doesn't like wine might even like this because it's so, it's reducing the amount of complexity, and it's really just giving you something that's so easy to down. And also you're getting 13.5%. So, getting up there, although that's pretty, somewhat restrained for the price point. But you're also getting some real winemaking. It's not, I'm getting visited here. But at this price point, you're actually getting some real winemaking. We've kind of gone past the real fake. It's still recipe winemaking. It's still mass produced, but it's, real grapes. It's even got an appellation. They're all from California, right?
Right. So it's not just somebody dumping sugar, alcohol, and juice in a container. It's really, they're putting some work into it, but they're making it enjoyable for the audience.
Right. So, Brittany, what do you think about the second bottle here?
Yes. So the Oyster Bay, I would say that I am pleasantly surprised. I think that it was just more refined in the taste. I think there was a little bit more complexity, but it wasn't overbearing at all. I think that it was well-rounded. It definitely gave me those nice berry feels, but it was still bright and summery like I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure. And it was still quite sweet, but especially on the nose, it definitely gave me that barnyard kind of smell, which a lot of old world Pinot Noirs have. So it was really interesting to get that like big berry sweetness on the taste, but have the old world kind of refined, grassy barnyard kind of smell together. That was a really interesting taste and quite enjoyable to drink. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that there was some grittiness to this, but it wasn't a ton of it. It was a nice amount to balance out the fresh fruit that you were getting.
For sure. So let's talk money for a second. We got the Dark Horse for $8.99, the Oyster Bay for $15.99. That was on sale though. Would you pay that for these again? What do you think?
So initially, I think Dark Horse might be a tiny bit overpriced for me. I don't know. That feels bad to just ask for a $5 bottle of wine.
So yes and no. So the problem that I have is that we're comparing this against maybe a Trader Joe's $5 bottle of wine. Suddenly it's a pretty fair fight.
Right. I think that's a fair statement.
That said, all that being said, I think I agree with you. I think it would be great to get it on sale for $1 cheaper. That I agree. And for Oyster Bay, I think that we got it right at the right spot. I think that if you can find it for $17 a bottle, I would be very happy to pay that.
I would bring this to a party for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would definitely dazzle people for sure.
Yep. And it's the kind of wine that, kind of gets you, that bridges that gap between a really easy drinker because it's nice and sweet and berries, but has that kind of interesting complexity that makes someone go, oh, interesting. Tell me more about this. So I think that it's a really great introductory wine and yeah, something great to bring to a party.
Very much well done. I'm really glad that we got it on sale.
For sure. Well, that was two wines that you can find at your local grocery store, and I enjoyed drinking them.
I did as well.
Well, everybody, we'll see you next time.
See ya.